Is it possible for CRO to hit $100 this bull market cycle? In the video, we're going to talk about some potential catalysts, the company, the business model, some competitive advantages it may have over other crypto companies, fundamentals, technicals, potential price targets that are absolutely bonkers for crazy new all-time highs on the CRO Cronos token. So stay tuned to get those predictions. You got to watch through the end. Also, be sure to comment 777 below this video if you're feeling bullish and blessed. Let's get over to the computers. First, let's talk a little about the company. Crypto.com is a mobile-friendly cryptocurrency exchange with 80 million users and 4,000 employees. They're based out of Singapore. They came on the scene around 2016, so they've got a lot of deep experience in the space because the space is young, right? It's hard to know what's good and what's not, but these guys know what they're doing. It's kind of like an entire ecosystem in itself that incentivizes users not only to use the app for their main business model, which is obviously crypto, but they also offer all sorts of cool things like deals and perks and benefits for being a member and using the platform, which is absolutely phenomenal because people love incentives. Incentives drive businesses, incentives drive the world, right? So crypto is built for the average Web 2 mobile user in mind, unlike a lot of these exchanges, right, that are very clunky, or maybe they're very, they require a lot of knowledge and experience, and when you look at it, it may feel overwhelming. In other words, this stuff is designed for newly onboarded normies, right? And so you can welcome your grandma and grandpa into the platform with all their fiat to go on, quote, pump your bags, right? But that being said, I really do want to reiterate that is a disclaimer. These are all just opinions. There are no price targets that I'm going to be talking about that are 100% the end-all be-all. You should be talking to a financial advisor if you're going to make any financial decisions. I'm just here to give you an education and my opinion. Okay, so what I enjoy most about the platform is that it's not designed like most exchanges. So that being said, it's pretty easy to navigate, and personally I've been using the app actually for a few years now, and I even have this little nifty card to prove it, but I'm not going to go ahead and show you. But it is metal, it's heavy, I get all sorts of cool benefits, and we're going to show you what those look like. But the first thing we're going to do, okay, is we're going to hop on over to this website, crypto.com, and you can obviously do that online, or you can go through the App Store. And so what I love about it, right, is the fact that it is mostly a mobile experience. So you can go ahead and click on this download app, and when you do, you should see the process. Now, let me go ahead and just pull that up, okay? I'm gonna go on over to the iPad, and this is what the app will look like. Now, there are a few things that you're gonna see here. You're gonna see about 5 different tabs. You're gonna see access to all of these different things. And again, the goal is not to get you overwhelmed or anything, but you'll see the home tab, you'll see the accounts tab, so it'll show you kind of all the cryptos and things that you hold. Okay, if you don't hold anything, that is totally fine. You'll see the trade tab where you can buy and sell crypto. You'll see the track tab, and so you can track different ecosystems. You can find out about new cryptocurrencies. You can do all sorts of things. And then finally, the card. Okay, and this is where you actually can access and upload your own crypto. In other words, if you made, let's say, a decent little profitable sum on your crypto investment, and now you wanted to go and spend that on, you know, different items and goods, you can do that, and you can even get cash back on that like you would with any credit card. But the rewards are pretty great here. Okay, so that being said, what I actually really love about this whole experience is that I feel confident and comfortable that these guys are really on top of their stuff. Okay, so if I come back over to the browser and I come over here, the first thing I want you to know is that Crypto.com was built on a solid foundation of security, privacy, and compliance. Okay, so that's really, really important because I myself have actually deposited money onto exchanges that have gone under. I've deposited money onto exchanges that have been hacked. Luckily, I've never lost money in the hack because they can only attack certain, you know, vectors, so to speak. But that has happened, and because of that, my crypto dumped anyways because people were afraid, and so they started withdrawing, right? right? Which is what causes bank runs, right? Is fear. And a bank run's essentially when everyone pulls their crypto out at the same time, or better yet, money out at the same time. And because there are no reserves or not enough reserves, a 1-to-1 reserve ratio in those exchanges more often than not, because they're not straightforward, right, in all of their managing of the finances. What happens is there usually is a default or a bankruptcy, or the thing goes under and you lose money. So what's nice about these guys is they really took the steps to not have those types of things happen, right? First, it's the first cryptocurrency company in the world to have an ISO IEC 27701 2019 CCSS level 3, and so basically all of these regulations and compliance measures, okay, and they are independently assessed at a tier 4, the highest level for both NIST cybersecurity and privacy framework. So what's nice is this is very resilient against hackers. When you really think about it, if you've ever used a PC versus, let's say, an Apple product, you'll notice that more often than not, right, you're more susceptible to being hacked or all sorts of types of viruses. And things can happen. They can steal information. They can steal credit cards, you name it. So these guys have really taken the right steps to do that. And, and to prove that these guys are obviously pretty honest with your stuff, which is why I like them. Okay. Here's their reserve ratio. If you come over here to their proof of reserves, and then I can go over to Nansen and see, exactly how much of these assets they're holding. In other words, if I try to withdraw $1.649 billion of a Bitcoin, okay, I would be able to do that. Now, that would probably not be too great for a company, right? They don't want you to withdraw all of their reserves, but it shows that they have enough for people to withdraw. So there is complete transparency from the reserves perspective, which I really like. I also really like the Crypto.com Visa debit card. This is something that I actually pretty consistently use. If you were to look through my history, I've been using it since about 2020, and I'm at that tier. If you scroll down this page right here, at the Royal, Indigo, and Jade Green. I got the Indigo card, and so you get up to 3% in terms of rewards on both the Ruby and Indigo, but in general, you always get 2% cash back on all of your spending. It's kind of like your Costco card at the higher tier, right? You also get some pretty cool benefits, like your first 6 months of Spotify free, up to, I believe, $13.99, and then Netflix up to, let's see, $13.99 as well. But my favorite perk of this card is not just the cashback and those types of deals. It's actually the airport lounge access. So every single time I travel, I get upwards, I believe, of $28 or $26 of credit at any one of their partners through something called Lounge Key. And I've used that every single time I've traveled. I immediately show up, usually like a few hours early because I'm very productive at airports. I pull the laptop out, I start working, and I get, $26 worth of free stuff. I believe it's 28 to $26. You'd have to verify on that. But that being said, you can withdraw. You can use this as a debit card, essentially. So it's a really cool benefit. Now, what I love about the fact that they offer this is they are really focusing on incentivizing new users. And when you look at just a few years ago, these guys were sitting at like 10 million users. Then they hit that 50 million user mark. Now there are 80 million users. And one of their biggest competitors that most of y'all might know is Coinbase. And these guys are sitting at around a little over 150 million verified users, but with a name. And this is one of those things that I absolutely think is just going to help be a catalyst in this bull market. With a name like Crypto.com, it's virtually impossible not to stand out from the rest, right? Like, Coinbase doesn't really describe the name of what the company does as well as literally Crypto.com. So there is a moat, okay? They have this business advantage in terms of marketing and just people being able to find them that literally no one else does. And so my theory is, if these guys continue to grow at this rate, there's no reason they couldn't hit, 150 million users into the next bull market cycle as more people, believe in crypto, and as mom and dad start to buy into that Bitcoin ETF, so on and so forth. And then if you come on over to one of their articles, you can see that the global cryptocurrency owners has increased by 34% in 2023, rising from 432 million users in January of to 580 million users in December. So these growth metrics are absolutely crazy, and there's no reason we couldn't expect this number by 2026, maybe 2028, to hit 1 billion users. And in that process, because these guys are positioned in such a way that not only do they have the name, but now they have the right infrastructure and processes in place to incentivize new users to get onboarded into their ecosystem. I do believe at some point in time in the next decade, these guys could probably hit 1 billion users, which would be just a massive catalyst for the price action of that CRO token to go up. Because if you come back over to the Visa cards, as you can see here, these tiers and rewards are not only pretty cool, right, but they actually require you, if you want to get access to other benefits, to lock up a certain amount of CRO. In other words, I actually have to buy $4,000, okay, for this deal of that CRO token. Now, I don't really get that many benefits if I just buy the token, right? But if I click right here, as you can see, I actually get access to more benefits. So I get that 2% cash back for locking up the token. You know what that means? That's another very bullish catalyst for the token, because it's going to be locked up for 6 months, or better yet, 180 days. Now, what does that do when everyone's locking up their token? I believe it's actually a really good deal. If you have conviction in a play and in a company, and you see what it's doing, and you believe that not only is the market growing, but they're positioned to grow more and more and more as more users are onboarded into the crypto space, and most of these people are incentivized to lock up and stake the token in return for rewards, then it actually keeps you from selling your bag for a small gain, and gives you the potential to see a very large gain. This is actually something that happened to me, I believe, in 2021. I saw a massive gain, and this is something that I really loved, but I might have been tempted to sell the token if it hadn't been locked up for the sake of getting these rewards. So there's your next catalyst. A third catalyst that I believe is really going to be helpful for these guys is the fact that they have really solid partners. I don't know if anyone remembers, but there was like a Super Bowl ad, Matt Damon, 2021. They invested like $100 million into advertising. And I think that's huge, right? It's not like, just something to have the best product in the world. There's an old phrase that says, if you build a great product, the people will come. Well, that's just not true, right? If someone doesn't know that your product exists, then they're never going to use it. So these guys have a really solid ability to get in front of crazy large audiences. I mean, they have their own arena, and I get, someone looks at it, it's like, well, so did FTX, but these guys are not only regulated, they're also insured for up to, and they actually have the largest insurance deal in all of crypto for up to $750 million. But, with their compliance and standards, I highly doubt they would ever really have to use anything like that, but still, it's protected. So these guys are obviously on top of the ball, and they have, partnerships with the UFC, Paris, Twitch, 76ers, AFL, LA, so on and so forth. And so, there's the arena. And the guy currently behind that title and role, the chief marketing officer, is a guy by the name of Steven Kalifowitz, I believe. Hard to pronounce the name. But it's really interesting, guys, because this guy really knows what he's doing. He's got a lot of deep experience. He's built out these deals. He's worked with Matt Damon, LeBron James. He's also recognized as Forbes 50 most entrepreneurial CMOs, which I really like. He's worked with ABC and HBO. He's, been in the space, since probably before 2010 to 2017, but this is what he was doing at RGA and then Twitter. So this guy's got a lot of deep experience. And what's funny? More often than not, these types of companies are as strong as their weakest link. Well, when you look at the team, they are absolutely stacked. And you know how I know? Because when you look at a guy like and this is one of the co-founders of Cronos and Crypto.com, which is their token, right? Gary Orr. I mean, when you see this and there's a dev that just wants to be completely anonymous over at LinkedIn, I'm like, that is super bullish for me. But this guy was a founder at Particle B, which is a startup accelerator. He's CTO at Forest, Southeast Asia's universal money app, launching in Hong Kong and I believe Singapore in Q1 2017. Our app serves as a multi-currency account tied to physical Visa card. This guy's got deep experience. There's there's no way this guy was one of their lead devs over there, and even the early days without being, and to build something this robust and big without having some deep experience. Longtime Ruby on Rails developer, enjoy hacking, learning edge technology, understands Ethereum 2, Polkadot, ZK, Snarks, BLS, Golang. I mean, this guy really knows what he's doing. Okay, and then when you look at, their other co-founders, you got a guy by the name of Rafael Mello, who is one of the co-founders and the chief financial officer. Got deep experience, ties to MasterCard and their subsidiaries. And then he also got an MBA from the University of North Carolina, yada, yada, yada. I just want to see, do these people have experience? Do they know what they're doing? Is the team stacked, right? And then finally, you have a guy by the name of, let's see here, Chris Marcezelik. And if I come to, the reason I was looking at his experience is because, this guy's about the CEO, okay, is about the company. And I believe this is his baby, but he was able to sell a company for over $100 million at one point. And his experience, just dates back to from the, and I'll hop on over here, from the chief, role or a co-founding role, it seems, consistently. So in other words, at that, C-suite / co-founder level since 2004. And so if you really wanted to, you could do a lot of digging into these companies, how they went. But, in my opinion, I don't know much about these other companies. What I do know is that Crypto.com is now basically global, and they're likely to continue to grow as they bought the domain name Crypto.com, and they have the right teams and infrastructure in place to grow. So there's your other catalyst, right? You've got a stacked team that's got a lot of deep experience, and they're probably able to do some really cool things in terms of partnerships and technology into the upcoming decade. So will they be primed to hit that 1 billion user mark? I don't know, but I would say aside from their other major competitor, this is probably right up there. Another catalyst that these guys offer that I believe is competitive and a lot of companies just can't do at a sustainable manner, which, in the previous bull cycle, if you guys remember, everyone was offering insane rates of interest that were not sustainable. I do believe that these guys are sustainable, right? So if I were to take a certain amount of dollars and, lock them up in the form of their token, whether it's Cronos or Ethereum or, Bitcoin, and these are not their tokens, obviously, they're just cryptos, I would get, 0.25% in terms of rewards. However, if I simply lock it up for a month, look at this. Already it went from 0.25% to 3.5%. So obviously they're incentivizing people to stake and lock up their tokens inside of this platform for interest. Okay, over here you can see upwards of 4% on the Cronos token, upwards of 7.5% on Polkadot, upwards of 6% on Cosmos. And if I lock it up for a term of 3 months, okay, I get 6% on Cronos. So if I believe that Cronos is likely to hit its previous all-time high of like 95 cents again, then this would really make sense to me. And I believed it wasn't going to happen, relatively fast, maybe the next month or two. Then I would obviously want to take advantage of this 3-month lockup. It not only allows for me to have more conviction, but again, I'm actually earning interest on that. And the same is true of Bitcoin, Ethereum, your Tether, and virtually any other asset that is listed right here, and you can compare those reward weights against other companies. So there's another catalyst, right? I mean, there's just so many ways, in my opinion, in which this platform is really built to create a whole experience around someone utilizing their token, utilizing their app, trading on their exchange, holding the Cronos token, staking it, earning rewards and interest. I mean, the opportunities are endless here. And so for that reason, I'd have to say I am pretty bullish on the token, as I'm sure as you're watching this video, you are too. But now your real question is, where could this thing potentially go to? So let's just hop on over to the charts and talk about that for just a second. So here we are on CoinMarketCap, okay, and we're looking at the Cronos token. The first thing I will say that I really do like at this point is that the majority of the supply is now circulating. So this is not one of those new cryptocurrencies, right, that has a very low flow and it might be trending really hard right now. But when you look at the actual tokenomics, right, the majority of those tokens are sitting in venture capital wallets, team wallets, you name it. And so when the token hits crazy all-time highs, because there are virtually so many tokens ready to be dumped, and there's so much money to be made from early investors, they all just dump into the market. Well, if that was ever the case here at this point, a lot of those tokens have reached market because 87% is currently circulating, which is actually a very good deal, especially when you're looking at a total of 26 billion tokens versus a total supply of 30 million. So I do like those tokenomics, but if we're going to go and look at the market cap, okay, we just want to understand what are the potential price targets for something like this. Okay, I'm going to hop on over to the all-time, and as you can see here in 2021 November, okay, Crypto.com reached a market cap of $22.5 billion. And that was an insane run up. When you really look at the chart here, we had quite a blow off top all the way up to 95 cents. Currently, we're sitting in a range, okay, of about 15 cents. And as you can see here, if I were to just do some simple technical analysis, this seems to be a good range of support. And so anytime we hit this range, it seems we either bounce. And in this case, we not only hit it once, twice, 3 times and bounced, and then obviously into the depths of the bear market and into the start of 2023, this thing really lagged behind the market, but now it's actually started to paint a new trend. How do I know? Really simple. Let's just remove those drawings. If I were to track, okay, let me just mark the all-time low right here. Okay, let me mark the all-time high. At one point, this token was in a downtrend. Okay, so if I were to take this high, where's the next major high in the range? I would argue probably right here. Where's the low between the range of these two highs? Right here. Where's the next major low? Right here. Next high? Right here. Next low? Here. Okay, high here, and then here, and so on and so forth. So you could just say we were obviously in a downtrend because we have a series of lower highs, okay, and lower lows. And yes, I could circle every single little thing, okay, but really we're not going to get into that whole deal. But this is obviously a textbook downtrend. So what I'm really looking for is a break in the trend, for the trend to end, right? Because the trend is your friend basically until the bend at the end. And so this was a major downtrend until we bottomed out right here. So now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start charting in a new, different way. I'm going to focus on that major low right here. Okay, bam. And then I'm going to focus on the major high before that low. And I could argue, it was these guys, but really I'm just focused on some major moves and pumps. So I'm really just going to say it was right around here. Okay. And then I could obviously backtrack that and forward track that by placing a horizontal line. Does this seem to line up with a lot of supports and resistances in the past? Yes. When we broke out to this range here, we sold off. When we broke down below the range, we held, and then, right, what used to be a support, okay, is a resistance right here. And again, a support right here, and if you come over here, a resistance here. Okay, and now a support right here with a little bear trap. So I'm not going to get into all of the technicals in this video. I just want to show you what I believe about the company and the token. But in general, this seems to be a pretty important range for the token. If I were to even pull up a VRVP, which is a visible range volume profile, you'll see I have boatloads, okay, of support and volume traded in these ranges. And so if we break above the range of 8 cents, this thing looks like it's gonna fly. So now how do I establish a new trend? I know this was the previous high before we reached our major low. In other words, in order for the trend to change, I need a high that is higher than the previous high, and I need a low that is higher than the previous low. Well, if I get another high after this high that is higher, in other words, an uptrend is a series of higher highs and higher lows, then it's safe to say that this thing is now trending up. And guess what? Because we have all of this support, and because crypto is in such a good position to win, not only just with its name, but its its team and its partnerships, their ability to get inside of the right rooms, right? And obviously to create a platform with awesome incentives, rewards, benefits, yada, yada, yada. I mean, they even have missions you can do, which is a very interesting game-like structure, right? So it's like gamifying the experience of being on the app. They want to incentivize users to be on the app, which is not only great for you, obviously, if you really like doing that type of stuff, but it's great to onboard new users and keep them using the platform. So if you already hold a token, that is really, really bullish for you. So now we are officially in a new uptrend, and because this thing has slightly lagged some of those really fast moving performers, I do believe this thing is really going to start to run up. And so how are we going to get a new price target out of this, right? Is it possible for it to hit $100? Well, let's just do some basic math here. First and foremost, I do know that we are now trending up. That is a really positive sign. And in a bull market, more often than not, right, not only does a good company or a good crypto reach its previous all-time highs, but it usually supersedes and has a blow off top for an insane price move, right? But we're currently looking at, if this token reached its previous all-time high, that would be about a 518% gain. Now, I'm no expert, but that is a pretty dang good gain, especially if it happened inside of the year of 2024. In other words, if I toss $10,000 in, I'm sitting on an extra $50,000 because I simply invested in a good company that is solving a real problem for a large group of people. Okay, so at a time, right, back in November of 2021, we reached a market cap, an all-time high market cap, which I'm trying to get on there, about $22.5 billion. And at that time, the price of the token was about 95 cents. Now, again, when the thing really moved and broke to a new all-time high, it had no time to slow down. It just pumped and pumped and pumped for an insane all-time high. And as you can see, the market cap even shows that kind of a chart and price action, right? At 95 cents, what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and pull up a calculator. Okay, and I'm going to pull it right over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take 100. So can this thing reach $100? Okay, and we're just going to figure out how many times would basically 95 cents, or basically at $1 of the previous all-time high, how many times would that need to multiply in order for this token to hit $100? And would the potential market cap be realistic? Okay, so we're going to take 100, divide that by 0.95, which was about the top on the token. And so in other words, we would need to multiply the market cap by 105 times at that all-time high to say, would that make sense? So let me go ahead and pull that up. Okay, so we're going to take this 105 and multiply that by basically 22,500, and we're just going to continue adding these up. Okay, we're not going to be perfect on the math, but this is 2, and this is $22.5 billion. And we're just going to see what that spits out for us, okay? The market cap, so this is 3, 6, this is million, this is billion, this is $1 trillion. The market cap for Crypto.com would have to be $2.3 trillion, putting it to be one of the biggest companies in the world. Now, is that possible? This bull market, not realistic. We simply don't have the adoption yet. We don't have the numbers of users yet. This isn't the equities market. Maybe one day it'll mature into that type of a company, and with inflation, be worth that much. But as things stand, and what I really love is that the majority of the tokens are in supply, so that might be helpful, right, for the price action of the token. But $2.368 trillion is just not realistic right now, considering the total market cap of everything, including Bitcoin, is about 2.65 trillion. I potentially see Bitcoin going to upwards of 10 to 12 trillion as a token. And so, I mean, this is almost the entire market cap as a whole. So is that $100 realistic? Not even close. But what might be realistic is something lower in the range of, I don't know, $6 to $25. At $25, if we just divide this by 4, okay, we would have looks like $94 billion market cap. Well, let's see here. Yeah, a $94 billion market cap, which might be realistic when we go and check out, what other companies are sitting in that $94 billion range. Obviously, BNB, so Binance, is sitting there. And obviously, Binance is considered, the biggest exchange in the world with the most trade volume. Crypto has a shot at moving upwards into this top 10 range. I believe it's been there before. You probably hit that again. And so there is enough room for it to hit those ranges. So this thing, in order for it to be $25, would need to be about a 94 to, I don't know, $110 billion market cap, which again, there is potential for that. So if we were to hit a $25 price from today, okay, you would be up, and we'll just see what that would look like. And then I'll give you my potential price targets here. Okay, we'll try to get it perfect on the right hand side. It's not perfect, it never is, but that's close enough, right? You'd be up basically 161x, okay, your investment. Because if you notice right here, you'd be up about 12x. This is 4x. Let's see here. This is 4x, so this would be 40x. Sorry. Yeah, and once we start getting into these ranges here, you start to get into that insane price move. So you'd be up 161x, which is still an insane rate. In other words, if I were to take, like, I don't know, let's just do the math here. Calculator. Okay, and this is how you do the math. If we were going to say we were going to invest, let's just clear this out. Okay, I don't know, $5,000 into the token to get that other card, you know, the ruby, or not the ruby, the green or purple card. Okay, I believe the indigo card, and multiply that. If you were to hold over this period of time into maybe a crazy new all-time high, this thing would be worth 161. Okay, about $805,000. Now again, I'm not saying that will happen. I have no clue. But if the token hit that range, that's about how much you would have in terms of an investment on simple $5,000. Okay, do I think that's, again, realistic this market cycle? Maybe not. Possibly, if they make the perfect moves and they do really well, but I just don't see it happening this cycle in terms of $100. $25 might be my absolute max target for the bull run. Which is still an insane move. As you can see here, from previous lows to tops before, we've had, you know, about 4,000%, okay, which would be about 40x your investment. So if I were to do a 40x from this bottom, okay, and I'm not saying this will happen, but we'd be at a very low $2. Is that possible? Well, we really dumped this market, right? More than a lot of tokens on this, which I believe is very healthy for the target, or sorry, very healthy for the token. And now it's got only upside because the majority of people who were gonna capitulate did capitulate and gave up those positions from previous highs. If I were to just take a fib tool, and here's another way to get a target, because there is no perfect way to get your ultimate target, right? We almost hit that 2x range. In other words, we go from the previous high to the lowest low and see where the all-time high hit in terms of the fib retrace tool. And as you can see here, not only did we smash the 1618, but if this is going to be an extra bullish market, which is a catalyst in and of itself, right, bigger than last bull market, so to speak, with the ETF news, and I really do believe more money is going to flow in than ever before, then it's likely we're going to get one of these crazy blow off tops here and hit that 2 range again. So all I'm going to do again is take this guy from the previous all-time high, put it at the all-time low, and what target would that give us? Okay, upwards of 1618 would be on the low end, and on the high end we'd have about a $19 price target, right? This would be kind of my blow off top range right here. Okay, this would be my realistic price target, so I would probably and personally take a little bit of profits here. Okay, so because it might not hit this range at all, I don't know. Nobody knows. No one has a, you know, not even the guys over at Crypto.com know where this thing is going to go long term. We're all just playing our best hand. But in general, I do believe they are playing the long game. They've built a platform for the long game. They're looking at not 150 million users. They're looking to onboard 1 billion users, and even if they got to a quarter of that for 250 million or 500 million, there's no way I couldn't see this token hitting at least $6, okay, on the low end, upwards of $25 on the high end this bull market cycle. And so even if we hit this range here, okay, of about $6, we'd still be sitting and looking at about a 36 to a 38x. In other words, every 5, and I'll just pull up that calculator one last time, okay? And so in general, if I were to take $5,000 yet again and, get one of those cards, stake my stuff, actually get those rewards and hold on to them for more benefits and bonuses and more access to opportunities, okay, in terms of earnings and interest, and multiply that by 38, let's just say 38.5. I'd still be sitting on $192,000. So I do believe these guys are primed to start to cook this year. They have enough users now. I think they have the right systems and processes in place. And at a current price of 15 cents with the trend looking up for a new all-time high, I don't see any reason why this doesn't look like a great opportunity right now. So if you're interested in checking Crypto.com out, go ahead and click on the link below to create your free account and start using the platform for some of those amazing benefits, and obviously snagging that token and just holding on to that thing for the long run. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time, Bull Runners.